I just don't understand the love affair with the Knicks fans and Carmelo Anthony. I think Melo is a terrific player, all-time great scorer, Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. Fine, don't care. He is not a great Knick, and he is not worthy of the ovations that the fans continue to give him.
They shower him with affection. There is a definite delineation in age. Younger fans love Melo. Older fans think what you think. And what I think, by the way, because I think what you think.
Okay, now, and why do we think what we think?
Because he didn't win.
Okay, it sounds like we're picking on Carmelo.
No.
Poor Melo. These two idiot radio guys are just ripping on him. No, that's not it. He was a selfish player with the Knicks that never took accountability. He was a lazy player that didn't play hard on both ends of the floor.
Yep.
And his teams never won. And he always thought it was everybody else but him. Yep. The head coaches, Jeremy Lin, Amari Stoudemire. I just gave you all legitimate reasons why he shouldn't even be liked, let alone beloved to the degree that he is.
Now, here's where he benefits, though. It was so dark this century, and there's something to be said for having a period that is like a prolonged period that is down.
Yeah.
And, one shining light, so to speak. So if you're, 8 years old when Carmelo first gets here, and then you're 8, 9, 10, or 10 through 17, or 17 through 24, whatever it might be, that's kind of the window, like that amount of years, he's going to strike a place of reverence in your heart because you have nothing else to compare it to.
Does Marbury get that?
No, he does not.
Now, why? Because he was too close to the 90s team? Meaning it wasn't that far removed?
Because Marbury never won 54 games.
Oh, all right, he did it once.
Never led the Knicks to the playoffs, like to that extent. Where, hey, listen, I'm with you on the Carmelo stuff.
Marbury
Carmelo was a better Knick than Marbury.
Marbury was there. But Marbury was also a great individual player,
but not for the Knicks.
Who was the Knicks guy?
Yeah, but they weren't good.
Didn't they make the postseason his year?
No, they played 1 year. Remember that was with the whole Tim? Was that the Tim Thomas Fugazi thing with the Nets?
Yeah, they got swept by the Nets, right? That was Marbury-led team.
Yeah, you talk about Marbury and Jamal Crawford and Quentin Richardson and those guys.
I think the difference is that was too close to the 90s Knicks, so it wasn't even taken seriously. And if Melo did his thing at that same time, it also would have been the same. The argument for Melo that you just made is because it was so long that the Knicks had that type of player and had some success.
Yeah.
That he was overrated. I think what Stoudemire did to the Knicks was more important than what Carmelo Anthony did.
I'm a bigger Amari fan than Carmelo Anthony fan. Amari wanted to be here, and I think Carmelo wanted to be here as well.
Yeah, for different reasons.
That's the thing. If he would have waited, and this is, again, this is ancient history, but if he would have waited, the Knicks would have had to rip up their roster. Now, granted, in real time, Timofey Mozgov, I was like, we're giving him up. I think he could be good. And he wound up being nothing here. So
no, but still, remember, Stoudemire was the first to come.
He was, and he even said the New York Knicks are back. That was his quote when he walked into the Garden. We're back, is what he said.
He wasn't...
and he was great his first year.
Right, but he wasn't the player that Melo was, so we're not saying that.
I think his first year, that was better than any Melo season because he was a rebounder as well.
Interesting.
Amari's first season was tremendous.
I'm not knocking his season. What I'm saying is I think Melo, just pound for pound, straight up just a better player. But to your point, what Stoudemire did in his first year, and the Knicks were building a team back up.
Yeah.
Raymond Felton, Wilson Chandler, whatever. Not Danilo Gallinari. Not a great team, but they were building back up a respectable team that played hard night in, night out.
I agree.
Then Melo came and ruined it all with his selfish play. Now, talent, yes, far and above. Like, you take that talent any day of the week. They never gelled together, Stoudemire and Melo. Melo didn't like when Lin got all the spotlight because he's thinking this guy's a fraction of the player that I am, but yet he's beloved by the fans. What am I doing wrong? He just, the lack of effort, the lack of accountability, the lack of self-awareness, all of the above. And he still lacks that self-awareness because he's out there taking bows as if he's Michael freaking Jordan, as if he made Madison Square Garden. And to me, I could rank 15 at least Knicks that I would value since 1990 to now more than Carmelo Anthony.
I don't know if I'd get to 15. I don't want to get nuts here. I get your point. I don't know if my list would be 15, but it'll be a lot more than many others too. I mean, it's about winning, right? And Carmelo comes here, and obviously, they hit the 54 wins in 2012, 2013. That's when they lost in 6 to Indiana. That's when he got blocked at the rim by Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, Roy Hibbert chewed Tyson Chandler up and spit him out.
Tyson did not not play well, but he legitimately blocked. That was a massive part of the game. If they win that, the Knicks might win the series, and it actually just went backwards from there. But, you know, you look at it, a 17-win season. You look at a 31-51 season. You look at it, a 32-50 season. Just lost a lot. And I'll tell you, you mentioned the stuff with Lynn and not being in great shape and shot selection and an aversion to defense and being a chucker and all those things apply. You know what bothered me the most about Carmelo?
The All-Star game thing?
Yep. When you played in, because you wanted to be out there with LeBron and Wade and Chris Paul, your boys who you thought you were comparable to, which history tells us you were not as a champion, and Paul's not a champion, but as a champion and as an all-around player. I think that and I understand why he put himself there, but to have that trump the season, for those of you who may have forgotten the details, he played at the All-Star. He had a bad knee, played in the All-Star game just to feel the adulation. Oh, the Knicks, the hometown hero, Carmelo Anthony, you know, representing the Knicks. Take his bows, come out, 2 days later, shuts it down, skips out on the rest of the season. So what he told us, without saying it, was that the All-Star game and the glamour was more important than doing your actual job. And I never forgot that.
And those are all the reasons why I don't think he deserves those cheers. It infuriates me.
It bothers me too.
Ewing, Starks, Oakley, those guys. Kurt
Bernard
Thomas.
King. Kurt Thomas is a grinder, no doubt.
Good God. One more thing about last night.
Even like Charlie Ward. Somebody like Charlie Ward.
100%. Chris Charles. Those guys gave everything they had every single night. One more thing about last night. Okay. And I've had enough of this. It's now been going on for over 30 years. I can't.
30 years.
I can't take it. And I'm not trying to make, us picking on Spike Lee. I can't stand watching these big games with seeing Spike Lee stand up in his either jersey or last night it seemed like some custom Jalen Brunson jacket that he's wearing. Look, he pays a lot of money for those tickets. He's a big Knicks fan. I get it. I've seen enough. It's been over 30 years. Every big Knick game for the last 30-plus years, I've got to see Spike Lee standing up, acting as if he is some coach or player on this team. He is not. Sit his ass down. He's out there coaching and pointing and telling the ref this and that.
He's calling out screens there, Sal.
Yelling at other players. Like, it's been going on far too long. He got burned over 30 years ago by Reggie, and he just continues to throw himself.
He got burned by LeBron, too. I told you, that's what he called me at night. Like, I think it was when LeBron had 60, and I'm doing my show at the old station years ago. I'm working at night, I think like 7 to 10, so whatever. I go in after a Knick game, and I'm kind of having fun, but I'm serious. I'm like, Spike was woofing at LeBron, and, LeBron went off, and that's why Spike called in. And my producer's like, this guy says it's Spike. And he said, I said, put him on. We'll flush through it on the air. I got no problem with Spike, but I'll stand by what I said. And we went after a little bit in a good way. I got no problem with Spike. It doesn't bother me with the Knicks as much as it bothers you. It bothered me with St. John's because I know.
Yeah, well, I
know he's a Georgetown guy. And if you're a Georgetown guy, you will never be a St. John's guy. And if you're a St. John's guy, you can never be a Georgetown guy.
My issue, I'm not debating his fandom in this particular case. It's that why are you standing up if you're sitting courtside? There's nobody in front of you. You don't have to stand up. And he stands up to be seen, and there he is. If I could see him, it's a problem. If you want to say, look, there's somebody sitting there famous, you see the back of their head. Okay, we see him all the time, front and center.
Yeah, it's getting old.
I can't take it anymore.
It's
over
getting
30
old.
years.
It's getting old. Again, it doesn't strike the nerve that it does with you with the Knicks, but it is definitely getting old. I mean, some people love it. I got to be honest with you. I think most people probably feel more the way you do, and to an extent, by extension, the way I do, than the other way. Like, oh, there's Spike, the best Knick fan. I think most of us are like, dude, I mean, you got more talent. Now, I will say this, and I read his book years ago. When he first got his first real lump of money, he went and he bought season tickets.
And he's had them ever since.
He is a Knick guy.
100%.
I never dispute that. But like this thought that Spike represents the Knick fan and he's the bastion for Knick. No, I don't look at him that way. I look at him as a guy who loves the Knicks, who's got a lot more money than us with great seats, who makes himself out to be a spectacle.
And God bless him. He's got more. He can do whatever he wants. All I ask is just sit down during the game, please. If you're sitting courtside, sit down because you're getting in the way.
Imagine sitting behind him and paying $3,000 a seat. Now he's not that tall, so you got to see. But the obstructed view.
He's not a coach. I mean, I remember at the St. John's game that we were fortunate to sit courtside. Right, you hooked it up
when you and Hoff went.
There were security guards telling some people who were getting a little too close on the court to, hey, back off a little bit, just sit in your seat. And that's what Spike is doing during as they're right, the security should be doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're sitting courtside, like you can't get up and make a spectacle. If you're sitting in the 400, you can get up, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're sitting courtside like that. You shouldn't be pointing and acting
it's a
and
lot.
jumping on.
Think about this: how Hakeem Olajuwon couldn't even go and celebrate with the Cougars when they got to the championship, and he played for the Cougars. And Spike is out there calling screens and running out plays here from a seat. It's a little much.
Viv is in Weston, Connecticut. Want to talk about Melo? What's up, Viv?
Hey, Viv.
Viv? Noah's calling from Bayonne. What's up, Noah?
Hey, what's going on? Listen, I'm a big Melo guy. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a younger Knicks fan. I'm 26, but, first ballot definitely deserves it. One of the greatest Olympians of all time for USA.
Mm-hmm.
But you said the last 30 years, Knicks haven't done nothing. We understand that.
Yep.
But how many guys have wanted to come to New York and be in that spotlight? He took a lot of slander when he left New York.
Stop.
And I think a lot of Knicks fans are resentful over it.
All right, let me ask you this, Noah. You're 27, and I even said this to Sal before. Like you're a product of what you grew up with. If if you have a bad team for a bunch of years, and Melo's going to be your guy. Yeah, I got to let you go because it's getting a little loud here, so I'll just present it this way. And when I look at my favorite players of all time, there is one thing that is absolutely indisputable in terms of you must having for me to love you. You must be an absolute gamer. And my favorite players, one is Mattingly, who went out there for 5 or 6 years with multiple herniated discs, who was 30% of the player that he was and still gave it his all. Number one. Patrick Ewing, lumbering up and down the court with the sleeve around his Achilles and, all the shattered wrist when they went up for the alley-oop against the Bucks, always playing his ass off. Wayne Corbett, these are my favorites, who had no business being, no disrespect, Wayne, if you listen to him, no business being on an NFL field, went to Hofstra and actually made VHS tapes to send to other teams. The only reason the Jets said, yeah, come out, kid, we'll let you work out, is because they practiced at Hofstra. And now he's not a Hall of Famer, but he and Keyshawn were really, really good. That, to me, is non-negotiable. If you don't grind and you don't fight and you don't play hard, I can like you in certain. I can't love you. And I was going to ask him this, but I had to hang up. I would have asked him, do you believe Carmelo always went balls out? Do you believe he was locked in? We all know the answer. Fought through screens and set screens and just busted hump up and down the court, for the 37, 38 minutes. No, the answer is no. He would set up in a spot offensively. He was a magician. He would drop 40 on you. Great scorer, not a great engaged player. And I will never forget that because I look for that stuff.
100% accurate. But yet he is loved by the younger, because they didn't see what happened in the 90s. And I'm not trying to be old man yelling at the clouds like, oh, you got to live through the 90s. It wasn't about talent. Melo was talented as anybody on those 90s Knicks teams.
I think he was more talented. You can make that case, actually.
Correct. He didn't give a fraction of the effort that those guys did. Unacceptable. James is calling from Rockville Center. What's up, James?
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Listen, you're forgetting one thing about Melo, and I agree with what you went over in your rants there about Melo and about Spike almost to the T. But I'm going to tell you why the Knicks are going to retire his number, and it's because he was a top 75 NBA player. And they hold that list. They love it. The fans love it, and he's a scorer.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I mean, as the older legends, some of them are no longer with us, unfortunately. Like the Busher, but and some others, but Clyde's still here. Eventually, things change.
Bill Bradley was there last night.
I know, I saw him. Yeah, Bill was there for sure. Phil Jackson is still alive. He doesn't show his face much at the Garden, but there's not many there.
Unfortunately, he made his presence felt last night with Porzingis going nuts.
Yeah, he did. I still thought Porzingis was going to be a beast when they got him.
I hated the trade when they traded him, man. I hated it.
I lost my mind. I was in the middle of a Super Bowl. Me and Teak were, I forget which city we were in. I got news on the set. I was on TV, CBS Sports Network, the national stuff. I just lost it. I'm like, you got to be kidding. Whatever. I loved him. I thought he was going to be the real deal. But the bottom line is, as these legends start to age out, I mean, somebody's got to take the baton. And when you haven't won a championship since 1973, outside of Ewing, there's going to be guys who take the baton who didn't win championships. Whether we like it or not, it is what it is.
It will bother me to my core. And people say, well, why do you care that much? Okay, well, in the real life aspect, I don't really care if they retire Melo's number or not. But from the sports perspective, it offends me to a level, BT, that I'm not even sure I'm capable of describing properly on the air.
I think we did this segment. I think we did properly describe it.
But you know what's
I think we did.
You know what's going to happen? It is going to happen. He is going to have his, especially now that he's officially a basketball Hall of Famer. And by the way, I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
Agreed.
There's a difference between being a Hall of Famer, a basketball Hall of Famer, and having your number retired by the Knicks. I could list multiple guys. I admit a bias, but there is a reason why I would list multiple guys that deserve to have their number raised to the rafters more so than Carmelo Anthony.
So you would go, all right, let me ask you this. I know we got to break here.
And that's like an extreme with the number retired, but over Melo?
Well, hold on.
Or I can just rank better Knicks than Carmelo Anthony.
Well, okay, so Bernard King is that must happen.
He's before my time, but
just take your buddy, your partner's word for it. It's Bernard, period. Next, number 30. All right, so then you got to get to, I wouldn't do this, but I wouldn't have a massive issue. Like if you did a Starks Oakley, I don't think that they should. But if you wanted to do that, provided Bernard King was taken care of, and then you get to Carmelo, fine. If it's just Carmelo and there's no Bernard and some of those other guys from the 90s team, we got a massive problem.
Now, I also would not retire John Starks' number. But there's no question to me that John Starks was a far better Knick with a fraction of the talent than Carmelo Anthony. Far better Knick. Larry Johnson, Mace, Spree, Kurt Thomas, Childs. And look, Brunson, to me, if I had to rank the best Knicks I've ever seen in my life, it is Ewing and Brunson in that order. I'm not going to put Brunson past Ewing until he at least gets the Knicks to a finals. I think Karl Anthony Towns could be up there. We got to see what you got to play a postseason game or series first. But he's in that area where I wouldn't even put Melo there, even with his mild postseason success. I'd put Karl Anthony. I think Towns is better than he is. I think he's tougher.
You'd put Melo 5? So you didn't see King, so that's where you and I differ.
So wait, it's a hard. What am I going off of? What kind of list is it? My favorites, guys that I respect.
Impactful?
Yeah, I think Carmelo Anthony would be down the list. I would put Starks and Oakley in front of him.
See,
I would put Sprewell in front of him.
I think Towns has a real chance to be more impactful for sure than Carmelo. I don't know if I'm putting Spree there. I love those teams.
He took him to a finals.
I know, but so did Allen Houston. So did Marcus Camby.
I would put Allen Houston in front of him,
so
too.
Larry Johnson.
I'd put Houston and Johnson in front of him, too. Yeah. I mean, I honestly would.
I love those teams, man. I miss those teams. I wish this team felt... This team's more talented than those teams. Wish they felt the same.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Let's see what happens in the postseason.
I got you.
All right, BT and Sal on the Fan will come back, finish up on the phones, 888-808-1019.